Hello and welcome to PlebPla. Today's review is, if you aren't familiar, the A to Z Gundam, also known as the Amazon Gundam to some fans. Its identification number, like the Zaku is MS06, the RX78-2, its identification number is Amazon.co.jp. Real creative there. So, in this box, this not so exclusive box, I have found this at local retailers. So, exclusive to Amazon Japan, ain't too exclusive. You get the full color manual as is standard for any Build Fighters kit, be it P Bandai or regular release. A slew of runners. I will put this image up for you as it pans across, which I chose to keep. Not for any particular reason. None of them are unique, but you do get a lot of reused runners from the Zeta Gundam. And even though this clear one says it is for the Amazon Gundam, or at least that's what I'm halfway reading, this is... No, I'm reading it stupidly. This is high grade After War 144. This is for the Gundam X Divider. It's exactly what I was going to brag about. But you get a nice little pile of runners. Nothing too special about them. You get a lot of reused parts from the Zeta, that one from the Divider. A lot of unique runners to the Amazon Gundam itself. For those runners, you get two of the more intense beam sabers, much akin to the X Gundam. Two regular beam sabers, which I've always been a fan of this neon green. It reminds me of Lego, classic Lego visors. The rather neat big ol' Amazon gun. Those parts are for the transformation. An extra waist part, which is for the transformation. And this big, ugly gray piece. Spoilers. The Amazon Gundam is a parts former. Let's zoom in. And here we have the Amazon Gundam, nice and up close. The first and foremost issue I have is exactly that. And this isn't a personal build kind of situation. This is a it's not tight enough scenario. The backpack, I think, makes it a bit too heavy, but just it has no friction on it. It just topples over. Now that's easily fixed with super glue, clear coat, whatever method you prefer to attach that, but it is... I've had to reshoot this because that's so infuriating. So we'll go ahead and review the legs since they have decided to cooperate with me today. You get a very, very nice bend. Oh, let's move you out of the way. Come play now. You get a nice bend at the knee. A little more than 90 degrees. You've got your little peg here for your action-based adapter. The feet bend over. And while they feel a little loose, they've got a whole lot of rotation and movement to them. They're really stable, though. No concerns of those falling out anytime soon. If you move these side skirts out of the way, you get a full-on split. The front skirt is attached, and this is not something I would recommend really separating. You do get two of them with the kit. One of which is for the transformation, and the other is for static. Now, they are both exactly the same, but coming in close here, I'm gotta figure out how to get this thing to focus the way I want it to. No. That's zoom in. I see what's happening here. Don't do that. Can we focus? Can we focus? Manual focus. I need to learn how to make this thing autofocus. What you see, turn around, is these are attached. And while there is a seam here, if you're daring and bold enough, I'm sure you could cut it. But you will want to keep one of these whole because one of these is for the transformation. The other is unmoving. It does not separate from the waist joint when you go through the parts forming situation. Otherwise, up front, we've got some good headbang and articulation. We can get a full rotation with nothing getting in the way, although if you have the backpack down, all these extra fins will get in your way. And if you look closely, there's an A here and an A here. They really snuck in a lot of A designs, even here on the leg. You kind of see it. I'm kind of stretching it for that one. But there's a lot of A's, but there's no Z. Very curious. The backpack has several points of articulation. You've got it right along here. You've got one here, so the standard resting position is like so. Mind you, I'm doing this through the viewfinder, so it's very awkward for me. It's going much better than the previous recording. Over here, you get a full 180 bend. Very nice double joint there. Backpack out of the way. You do get full range of motion there. Your arm only goes up so high. Let's see how high we can go with that out of the way. Then you get a little higher if you move the backpack aside. That ain't too bad now, is it? Over here on the shield, you can take one of your GX beam sabers and plug that in right here into the shield. I'm having a hard time. Give me a second. Bam. There we go. Get nice and sharp in there. I swear I gotta figure out how to autofocus this thing. Maybe that'll help. I push a button. That plugs in there, which we're going to keep this in mind in a few minutes once we go through the transformation. I'm going to play some music while I endure this punishment. And here we are, finally, after minutes of research, struggling, battling, and we plug it. Nope, come on, do your job, please. Do the plug. I know you're right side up, come on. There we go. The very front-heavy Amazon Gundam in its Wave Rider, or whatever it's listed as. I didn't look at it in the manual. What does it call it? It compares it to the Zeta. So, one little thing about this that the manual doesn't tell you is that the shield attachment point here, where the beam saber goes, you can still put one of your beam saber effect parts up in there. Now, granted, it's at a bit of a downward angle, But I think this gives this a little bit more of a dynamic edge than most Wave Rider modes that have, you know, a mounted gun somewhere, but as we know, the legendary Zeta's Wave Rider crash. This gives it a little bit more edge. But there isn't anything left to say about that. There's nowhere to put your beam saber handles. The beam sabers don't store anywhere. They're just handles. You get the extra part. You get your shield adapter left over. And then your very frustrating torso. Torso. If I were to go back to a number rating scale for looks, this will get an 8 out of 10. But because torso, because parts forming, not that I'm a big stickler about parts forming, it's still kind of blah, disappointing. This gets a 5 out of 10. If you think it looks cool and you see it in a local shop, buy it. Don't go through any of the hard work of trying to order it online through Amazon. It is a local, it is a regular release kit. They just made it one step harder and one step more expensive to buy. According to the box, this retails for... actually, it doesn't say. That's very curious. Normally... Oh, move aside, sir. Normally, you get your yen listing over here as part of your barcode, but not this time. Not this time. But as always... ZEON.